spoiler on the back of the car, and that'll be the biggest track where we've run the new rear spoiler.
I know we got 169 laps to go, but the recovery of the race so far has been that one car of Jamie McMurray. They have been to pit road 24 times adjusting the tow out, and here he's battling Mark Martin up there for the 13th. And remember, he was one of those cautions back on lap 23.
Watch the one car as we replay it for you. Got a little boot from Clint Boyer as he was trying to give Kevin Harvick room.
And he didn't hit anything, but I think because of the way the car spun, it really threw the toe out on those front tires, and that's what they've been adjusting every single caution, every single pit stop.
He's now 14th behind Mark Martin, and right with him is the 43 of A.J. Allmendinger, who started this race from the pole.
And the 43 car faded badly there for a while, but now that the sun's gone down, he's starting to march back toward the front a little bit. So I don't think the 43 is totally out of it yet. Whoa, Mark Martin just got that thing, just took off with him. He hit one of those slick spots over there. The front end dips and away she goes.
He did a whoa, Daddy.
Yeah.
Tony Stewart, we heard that he was not very happy with his car on those last adjustments that Darian Grubb and that group made. Now he's fighting his way back into the top 15 in that 14 car.
He still lacks about 0.3 of a second of the quickest cars. And I've been watching Greg Biffle here on the outside of Martin Truex. Now Biffle gets in line. They're in 19th place, and that car just has not come to them, not yet.
And it really surprised me. I thought Greg would be really tough here tonight. He's been on a pretty good roll. He's the only guy that's had top 10 finishes in all our first 6 races. He's got a little work to do if he's going to do that tonight.
But you know, I talked about the one car McMurray and the recovery they've made, but how about Martin Truex Jr. in that 56 car just in front of this group? Remember, he pitted too soon on the first caution, had to go to the tail end of the field, and then had to make an unscheduled green flag pit stop on lap 77, and now he's well up in the top 20 in that 56.
Truex running in 18th.
Still too loose, Pat. Or we'll get that track bar down some more.
Everybody's still looking for adjustments.
Oh, yeah.
Carl Edwards, Joey Logano, 7th and 8th, running about 5 seconds off the lead, and their lap time's about 0.3 slower than race leader Jimmie Johnson and Juan Pablo Montoya. $163 laps to go in Phoenix. Jimmie Johnson has been out in front for 65 laps in the Subway Fresh Fit 600 on Fox. Like a jewel in the desert night sky, Phoenix International Raceway has Jimmie Johnson out in front of Juan Pablo Montoya. Montoya's led the most laps tonight in our Subway race summary. 6 cautions for 44 laps. The big one was a 3-car pileup at lap 15. Kurt Busch got into Casey Kane. Denny Hamlin was also involved. In the garage area, just Michael McDowell and Dave Blaney. There are 5 cars more than 10 laps down on the racetrack, but there are 26 cars on the lead lap. And one of those, Ryan Newman, who's now in 9th place, just had quite a moment with the 77 of Sam Hornish.
He just used him up. He just gets into him right here. Lucky it didn't cut Sam's left rear tire down. You can see how close the splitter came to that left rear. He just pushed Sam out of the way.
He got on him and wouldn't get off, would he?
Sam, I am coming through.
And Gordon says, I think I'll just come right on through too.
But Sam was after him down getting into 3, but didn't quite get there.
So Newman is now 9th with Hornish 10th and Jeff Gordon 11th. Jimmie Johnson 1.1 seconds ahead of Juan Montoya, as the track seems to have come to the 48. That's no big surprise.
Last 2 adjustments certainly have helped, but I don't know if it's the best way to go about it. I don't feel much faster. Obviously, it's driving good. It's not like I picked up a bunch of speed and the car's hooking to center better.
Well, let let me see. Let me check off a couple of things here. The spoiler on the 48 could be messing it up. I can check that off. That's not possible. Qualified poorly, must be experimenting. Check that off. That's not possible. 48 leading the race. Back to normal.
That's very possible.
That's possible.
Earlier, we saw drivers removing their own windshield tear-offs. We saw Carl Edwards with sunglasses. We saw him without. I wonder where they went. It's not like you've got a center console in that car to put them in.
Bud, be aware, your glasses may still be in the cockpit.
They may be. I'm pretty sure I got them out of the window.
They're not on pit road here. Doug's saying his huge belly pushed them back into the window.
Well, I think I felt them here on the floorboard, so hopefully they don't get stuck under any pedals. I think I kicked them back here. I'm sure they'll be melted up nice.
You know, Larry, I'm just not real sure that there's a lot going on when you got to worry about where your sunglasses are.
It means you must be fairly happy with your race car.
If your crew chief is worried about what you did with them, maybe he was going to give them to him after the race.
Those were the best sunglasses in the world. Free ones. 11th place, Marcus Ambrose trying to take it away from Sam Hornish. And Jamie Mack coming back in that #1 car.
And then you see our pole sitter, A.J. Allmendinger, in that 43, back inside the top 15, right behind McMurray in the 1.
I knew it would be a stretch tonight to think that Allmendinger might be able to win this race, but they're having a great weekend. He wins the pole, fell off the map there a little while, but he is fighting his way back in here. That's got a good top 10 written all over it.
You know, we had him on our trackside show on speed last night, and you know, he talked about it. Had probably one of the fastest cars in the Daytona 500, got caught up in a little bit of a wreck, and they kind of struggled since they left Daytona back in February.
Looks like Sam Hornish has just not been able to find a place to run on the bottom, and now it's Ambrose in the 47 who's trying to take advantage.
And that's the way those two cars started to race side by side back on the second row in 3rd and 4th.
But you see what a run you get off of the turn. When you run that high line, makes the straightaway a little longer. You pick up a little speed. You lose a little time through the middle, but that's still not a bad groove to run in.
Jimmie Johnson beginning to catch some lap traffic. Now the gap between he and Montoya is pretty constant at about 1.1 seconds. How about the second place car, Steve?
Mike, early in this run, Juan Pablo said the car simply too tight. Crew Chief Brian Patty said, let the air pressures come up. Just moments ago, Juan Pablo said the same thing. Still too tight.
Well, and I'm sure a lot of that is because of how this racetrack is changing. You're going to have to start freeing that car up, because when you turn the wheel and it's tight, the front wheels don't respond and don't turn. It's Tony Glover and Brian Patty.
A couple of drivers told me at race last night, if you were loose when the race started, you stayed loose. If you were too tight when the race started, you stayed too tight. The track didn't ever really, it picked up grip, but the problem with the car
didn't
stayed
change
the
the balance.
Right.
Jeff Gordon is running in 10th. There you see Gordon down the backstretch, but look right behind him. There is a pack closing right up on the back bumper of the 24. What's up, Matt?
Gordon is concerned about the handling of the 24. He says the car, we are just terrible loose on entry into turn 1. He says entry and exit, it is just awful loose. We've got to make a big change, and a big change has to come on that next stop.
And when you're loose getting in with the speeds that you're running here, it kills the entire corner, middle and exit.
You know, you can always take a little rear brake off the car with the brake bias adjustment. I'm sure they know that, and I'm sure he may have done that. But if you're loose in, sometimes you can back a little of that rear brake out and really help the car.
Dick Berggren, how about the 43?
Well, they've struggled all night long with the handling of that car, Mike. Right now it's a little bit tight, but they're getting better and better as the night has worn on. They're doing it by watching what happens with tire pressure buildup and tire temperature and that sort of thing. And Mike Shiplett, the crew chief, has done a really nice job of dialing that car in and getting it to where Allmendinger really likes it. I think he's going to go forward as the night goes on. They are making progress for sure.
Well, there's one thing about it. He has been committed to that yellow line in the bottom of this racetrack from the get-go. He has not ventured off of that at all.
Darrell, if the handling's off, and the car's pushing. It's tight. It doesn't want to turn like Allmendinger's. Is that an easier car for the driver to work with or adjust to than a car that's loose that wants to spin out every time you go into the corner?